everyone. It's Barb, and I want to welcome you to this episode of the Better Together podcast. Better Together is where you and we talk about the things that mean most to us in life. Our worries, our fears, our waistlines, as well as our hopes and our dreams. And the vision for Better Together is that it doesn't matter where you come from or what you've been through, that we are all going to find the hope, the help, as well as the practical next steps that we need so that we can all get better together. And today I am so excited because this is a valuable Better Together journey for all of us. Today we're talking about marriage and relationships. This pandemic season has challenged all of us in our relationships. And this is a topic for me that I feel deeply passionate about because we're talking about the 5 secrets that husbands wish their wives knew. And for those of you who know my story, you know part of my journey. And I want to stand with my sisters who are married today, and I want to support you and I want to encourage you. And so today's show is all about breathing hope and fresh connection into your marriages. So I'm going to introduce today's guest to you in just a moment. But before we do that, I'm hoping that you'll take a moment and you'll say hi in the chat box. Hey, Nancy, thanks for joining me. Whether you're watching this live or on the replay, Better Together Facebook Live is a broadcast that I do on Tuesdays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and Fridays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can find the past episodes on this Facebook page, or they're also archived at barbruce.com on the blog page. So make sure to go there and listen if you've missed any episodes. And then if you see an episode that you think that a friend would really be blessed by watching, make sure to send it to her. Now, as time has gone on with Better Together, there have been some changes. And so you can see around me, one of the changes I'm excited about. If you have known me, you know that I primarily go on the road as a speaker and author. But during the pandemic season, I get a chance to connect with many of you right here via social media. So I wanted to make sure that you had something pretty to look at in the background while we were online together. And so earlier this week, I took a little space in my office and I created what you see behind me. And it's been so much fun. I just kind of wanted to show you how it all came together. So this was the before. And through the magic of Hobby Lobby, the after is what you see behind me. And the reason why I want to share this with you is that in life, there are the way that we think that things should be. And then there are the ways that things are. And in fact, in my new Surrendered Bible study that you see behind me, the Surrendered Bible study, we talk about letting go of expectations. And so today I want to encourage you. If your life has changed, especially as the result of the pandemic, and maybe how you do your job has changed, maybe how you interact with your family has changed. And sometimes we can get frustrated when we don't have control over those changes. Today, I want to encourage you to just take a moment and to let go. In fact, if you need words, I want to pray for you just in this moment, because sometimes change is hard. But we also know that when we trust God with our changes, that allows him to do something fresh and new that can be a blessing for all of us. And so if you would pray with me. God, I am grateful that you are a God who is in control of all things. And so I pray for my friends who are listening, God, that we would all open up our hands, that we will let go of our expectations about the way that we think that things should be, and that we would be willing, God, to trust you and to walk in the way that things are, that we will trust that your presence, your power, your promises, and your provision are all that we need. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen. Well, part of the reason that I wanted to pray with you is because today we're going to talk about the 5 secrets that husbands wish their wives knew. And I think for those of us who have been married or are married, sometimes we know that our husbands have been thinking things, but they've been afraid to share them to us, share them with us. And so today we want to talk about some of the things that our husbands want us to know. And so, Rhonda, thank you for joining us and being a part of it. So I want to get to introducing our guest because we have so many things to talk about today. So, friends, our guest today is Mark Savage. And Mark is an author, a speaker, a pastor, and marriage coach. Mark has served in ministry for 20 years. Mark and his wife, Jill, they devote their time to coaching and marriages. Mark is honest, he's authentic, and willing to talk about the real stuff in relationships. Mark and his wife, Jill, are empty nest parents of 5 kids, and they live in Central Illinois. And so, ladies, I want you to welcome Mark Savage. Hey, Mark, how you doing?
I am good. I am so glad to be here today.
I am glad to have you here today as well, because we do want to talk about the 5 secrets that husbands wish their wives knew. But before we do that, you are a husband and you are a man. And
Yeah.
I know. So just to help the audience get to know you better before we dive in, I thought of a few questions that I think guys are into. So like one of the easy ones is, Mark, if you had a choice between hot wings and hamburgers, what would you choose?
I am a hamburger guy.
You're a hamburger guy.
I'm a
All right,
hamburger guy. Juicy,
okay.
cheese on it. Oh, yeah.
Okay. And this one, I don't know if this is going to be hard or not. I know that sports isn't necessarily available. But the question that I have for you is Ohio State or Michigan for football?
I would say Michigan because my brother-in-law, or not my brother-in-law, my son-in-law is a Michigan fan. And so other than that, I'd be an Indiana fan. So.
Well, and that question was not exactly fair. For my Better Together listeners, you guys know that I'm here in Ohio and Mark and Jill live in Central Illinois. Well,
see, I'm just trying to get you riled up.
And you did, which is, I mean, that's very brave of you, Mark, because I'm the one who's going to be asking the questions today.
Oh, maybe I didn't think that through.
Well, thank you for being such a great sport and playing along, because I did kind of trick you a little.
Yeah.
But you and your wife, Jill, live in Central Illinois. And so tell us about your family.
We have 5 children, and currently none of them live with us, although they tend to have bungee cords. they keep coming back. And then we have soon to be 6 grandkids, and that's exciting. And we are so thankful that we had the kids, our 5 kids early when we had lots of energy, because 6 kids they'll wear you out. 6 grandkids will wear you out.
Absolutely. I'm tired just thinking about it, and I don't have any grandkids. So for the audience, for those of you who are listening, again, whether you're live or on the replay, go ahead and tell us, how long have you been married? And share that in the comments. And also, since we're talking about the 5 secrets that husbands wish that their wives knew, ladies, this should not be a trick question for you. But what is your favorite thing about your hubby? Go ahead and leave those in the comments, and we will get back to those in a moment. So again, how long have you been married? And then the second is, tell us, what is your favorite thing about your hubby? So Mark, for us, let's get into this, because the pandemic has been, it's been very much a challenge for all of our relationships. And you and your wife, Jill, are marriage coaches. And tell me about some of the challenges that you've seen relationships go through during the pandemic season.
What I've seen, what Jill and I have seen, is that because people are in close proximity, they can't really escape to their normal places that they might hide, whether that's work or the store or whatever. And so it propels them into that place where they're just facing each other, and it's raising up those frustrations. And so Jill and I, we've been very busy with helping people, helping couples off the ledge, I would say, and accept one another again and to normalize some of those challenges.
Wonderful. And you and Jill have been married for a very long time. When you think about how you have grown as a husband, um, tell me, like, and I know this wasn't necessarily a question that we had planned, but we're going to talk about the 5 secrets that husbands wish their wives knew. In hard times in your marriage, what made it difficult for you to express yourself to your wife?
It's the same thing that I think most men struggle with, is that when we don't know what to do, we do nothing. And so I found myself in that same spot, that when I didn't know what to do, I didn't know how to have the argument, I would just kind of pull into my turtle shell and do nothing. And or I would go passive. And Jill is a strong woman, and I can tend to be a silent man. And so you get those all 3 of those mixed together, Barb, and it's quite a success for failure in communication or in voicing what it is that I was thinking.
And thank you for sharing that, because often I know as wives, and I was a wife for 26 years. I knew that there were times when my spouse had things to say, but the problem was, is me as a human, I had things that I wanted to say, and I had things that I wanted. And so, ladies, if you're joining us today, Mark is going to get us started on this list of the 5 secrets that husbands wish that their wives knew. And so, Mark, number 1, you said that a husband wishes, the secret was that his wife would respect him.
Yeah.
And so this one is huge. And so I'm actually going to give you the stage on this one to really talk about this one to wives well. And so go ahead and unpack this secret. And I'm actually just going to give you the full stage and back out of here and let you talk about this for a moment. All right?
Okay. Yeah. What I wanted to say to the ladies first is that these secrets have really come from conversations over the years with women who have been frustrated with their man and not understanding him, and then jumping to their own assumptions. And so the first secret of respect him it's a hard one, because so often we don't want to respect until a man has earned it. And if we look at respect in that way, respect becomes a moving target, because for this moment he'll do the right thing and then you'll respect him, and then 5 minutes from now he'll do the wrong thing and then you won't respect him. And so in respecting him, it all starts in how we think of your man. So to think well of him, to speak well of him, to need him, not to need him just to take care of things around the house, but to need him as a person. These are critical for a man. And so often what our thinking can go to is more of the frustrations and the disappointments. And so as we perpetuate those in our mind, we end up not respecting him, but disrespecting him. I think too that a very powerful part of respect, ladies, is that to believe in him. Your man so wants you to believe in him and to think well of him, because honestly, he wants to be that guy that you want him to be. He wants to be the hero. He wants to be the knight in shining armor. But most often men feel like they are failing you, and that you can turn that around by respecting him and believing in him.
I love how you emphasized the husband's deep desire to be the hero and the
Yeah,
knight in shining armor.
yeah,
I don't. I think that at the beginning of relationships, that I think that women can see that a lot more often. But I think it's harder for women to see that as life goes on.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
when you talk about that, be the knight in shining armor, it doesn't always have to be the very big things, but
Mhm.
help cast that vision for how a woman can actually go, wait a minute, he wants to be a hero. How do I recognize this and affirm that?
Yeah, I well, I think honestly, Barb, it goes back to uh, how ladies would think about their guy, and that uh, to move from the focus on disappointment or frustration to really the fascination of who he is. He's still deep down that same guy that you fell in love with, but life has kind of drawn you apart, which is what it'll do. And so uh, to affirm that man is to speak well of him and to tell him, I believe that you can do this. You are a good man. For you that have kids, you are a good dad. I love the way you interact with those kids. As you speak life into that man, he's gonna transform. It may take a little bit because if you have a very challenging relationship, at first he's going to be caught off guard. And what I would tell you ladies is don't tell him that you're hearing these secrets from anybody today. Just put them into practice. You're going to rock his world. He's just going to be like, who you been talking to? So,
I love that. Oh my gosh. Well, and that leads into number two. You said the
yeah,
second secret is to accept him. And
yeah.
so kind of keep going with and how that relates to respect.
Okay.
So accept him.
Uh, in acceptance, what happens in marriage so often is life works to derail your relationship, and life works to do that. In acceptance, so often we find ourselves, or you can find yourself, not accepting him and wanting to change him. And for a man, at first, he wants to change in the way that you desire, but then at a certain point, he's like, I can't do this. I'm incapable. I'm not wired this way. And so he just stops or he shuts down. And so in accepting him, it's listening to him and hearing his heart, maybe hearing his hurt, uh, maybe to have a conversation with him that would say, uh, maybe I've put too much pressure on you to become something other than you desire. Have I done that? So you get to know him and to value who he truly is, not who you've imagined him to be in your head. And so that acceptance is huge as you move to affirm him in who he really is, not in who you want him to be.
I love that question. Have I put pressure on you to be someone that you aren't?
Yeah.
That is such a powerful question. Ladies, I actually I put that in the comments there. That's so good. Mark, you said number three is to pursue him. Now, why is this a secret?
Oh, because we stopped doing that with each other. I think men stop pursuing their wives, and wives stop pursuing their husbands, and a lot of that is because of kids. Kids get in the mix, and you're pursuing kids all over the place. And I know Jill has always said that at uh, after the kids, Mark, you're on your own. I don't have any more room to pursue anybody else but the kids that are around my feet. And so pursuing him is such a powerful tool because he does feel forgotten, or I'm going to be as strong as to say neglected, that the kids have come first. Life has raised up and gotten in the way, and a man will say, well, that's okay, I understand, but deep down he doesn't understand. And so in pursuing him, Barb, you would plan and make time for him. So like Jill and I really emphasized three types of dates: a daily date, which can be texting, or at the end of the day, you just sit down for 15 minutes, even in the midst of the kids, and just process your day and talk about what's happened. Those consistent dates where you have it on the calendar that we're going to get away, and it doesn't have to be a dinner and a movie. Of course, now there is no dinner and a movie, but it can be out in the backyard in lawn chairs, by yourself. And so plan and make time for him. Look at him and want him. It is such a powerful thing for a man when his bride looks across the room and there's that look in her eye that says, "You are the hottest guy here." And I mean, he'll just melt and he'll do anything for you. I think in pursuing him, you're surprising him with touch, with hugs, with maybe a peck on the cheek, or plant a big one on him. But you're surprising him with not big things, but little things that say, "You're important to me, and I'm really thinking of you."
That's awesome. I love that. Woo!
Yeah.
So, ladies, if you are listening, I just posted a question. How are you dating your spouse during the stay at home? Because this has been a challenge, but I love how Mark talked about the intentionality of it all. So
Yeah.
you can share your comments and ideas. Mark, let's talk about and actually real quick, let me do a quick commercial because
Okay.
for some women, this is, and husbands too, they've been talking and going, you know what, the pandemic, we want to invest in our relationship a little more. And so you and Jill actually have a seminar next week on May 26th. Can you tell us about it?
Yeah. So it's starts Tuesday night, and it's an hour each night, 8 o'clock Central Time. And so that it would be Thursday or Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then Jill and I, we're very practical in the teaching. And then we also guide you and coach you in how to have conversations. And so then we lead you to the point that after the hour, we'll shut down the video, and then you and your wife or you and your spouse would have a conversation for 30 minutes, which are safe conversations that are really would emphasize the teaching for the evening. It's been super, super powerful for couples that have attended. We've been very, very pleased.
One of the things, Jill, Mark's wife, Jill, is one of my dear sisters in ministry. And Jill remarked that you guys do this all around the world, literally. You do your work all around the world. But you could discover during the pandemic that doing this at home, husbands actually felt like they could speak up more honestly doing the at-home, having the at-home version. So why do you think it is?
I think safety. I'm at home. I don't have to talk to anybody. I don't have to worry about other people maybe hearing what we're talking about or wrestling through, and we can just be comfortable in our own home. And Jill and I, when this first happened, when this pandemic happened, we lost, I think, like 18 speaking engagements, and that was just a big shock because we just didn't have the opportunity to invest in couples and help them. And then Jill had the idea of, what if we do this online? And I was like, oh, I don't know. We can try it, but I'm just not sure. And honestly, so we thought it would be plan B, and I think it's plan A, because men are interacting and emailing, and I love connecting with the men one-on-one. And so I do that quite a bit. I have quite a few guys that I'm interacting with and helping, and it's just been very powerful, been life-changing.
It brings tears to my eyes to just I love the fact that what seemed so difficult and so disappointing, and you're watching how God is using it to radically create impact. It's so good. So
Yep.
good.
Yep.
All right. Well, we had a number of women share some comments. I've been posting the 5 secrets, and so there are a number of ladies today. Lucy Bingham, she says that she and her husband, they're going to be married for 30 years this Tuesday.
Oh, awesome.
Congratulations, Lucy. Christina and her husband have been married for 5 years. And when I asked about what her favorite thing was about her husband, she said that he doesn't give up. Rhonda said her favorite thing about her husband, he drops her off at work. She doesn't feel like driving. And so I think when you're talking about hero, like those are some of those moments when we make husbands feel like heroes. Lucy said that he keeps life interesting. There's never a dull moment.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Nancy says she's been married for 30 years in June as well. And that her favorite thing about her husband is he's a positive person with a great sense of humor. Oh, ladies, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, well, Mark, number 4, you said the 4th secret is to influence him. Tell us about that.
Well, I think a mistake that so many wives will make is that they think of influence as parenting. And so many guys are frustrated in that they feel parented. They feel like they are treated as a child. And I think that goes back to that how ladies would think about their man. And so sometimes wives will think of their men as just big kids. And what I want to encourage you is that even if he acts like a kid, don't think of him that way, because you'll end up talking with him in that way. And so to influence him is to have communication with him, but a respectful communication, that you can influence your man by asking him questions. Just a couple ideas would be to say, honey, or however you would introduce that conversation. But honey, I've been thinking about some things and I wanted to get your input. He'd be like, what? You want my input? and then, or even if you're frustrated, to nuzzle up to your guy and just say, can we talk about what just happened? I think we could have handled that differently. But what happens is life is busy, and wives, we parent and we just hop in and kind of we manage our man, and he just doesn't want to be managed. I think men too, that they're still dreaming. So invite those conversations about what it is they're dreaming about. You can influence your man by filling him up with affirmation. The world just beating the tar out of him, and your affirmation, it's like when you affirm your man, you go to the head of the line of influencers, and you pour that love into him that he so definitely needs. That's the fuel that keeps him going.
Oh, that is all so good. So good. And with time, we want to move on to number 5. Ladies, if you've been watching today, Mark has been sharing some incredible information about the 5 secrets that husbands wish their wives knew. Number 1 is to respect him. Number 2, accept him. Number 3, pursue him. Number 4 is influence him. And then number 5, Mark, number 5, you said have fun. Tell us about that.
You know, when you were dating, most often you were having fun, and then that gets lost. But that desire from your man, and I think of a book that we read years ago by Willard Harley called "His Needs, Her Needs." That so many, typically it's a man wants their wife to come out and play with them, and like for me, Jill says I'm a collector of hobbies. Now, that could be true. That's a whole nother show. but but I still long for Jill to play. And I'll tell one quick story. I wanted to play, and I didn't understand this dynamic. And for Christmas, I had this big box under our Christmas tree, and Jill was like, "What is that? That's heavy." And I never told her. I never told her. Christmas morning, she opens up a bowling ball. What was I thinking? So I gave her this bowling ball, and I said, "Oh, I'm not done yet." It was her favorite color. I went into the closet, and I brought out my bowling ball, and I said, "We can go bowling together." And she was like, "We haven't bowled a day in our life." I know, but I think it'd be fun. so, um, but if you're not playing together, then just a couple guidance points. Barb is ask him about that, and he may be shocked, but what is it that he enjoys? And uh, for you ladies who are like, I don't enjoy that. Well, it's not about you enjoying that. It's about you enjoying him and spending time with him, and it will totally lift him up and lift up your relationship.
That is so good.
Yeah.
Well, ladies, we have really, I mean, Mark shared these great secrets. They're in the comments. But ladies, I want you to do the work on this. I want you to take these 5 secrets that your husband wished that you knew. And I want you to sit and I want you to pray and go, okay, God, it may not be wise to go, I got to fix everything at once. But I want you to pray and ask God and say, what do I need to lean into with today? And Mark and Jill are hosting their No More Perfect seminar this coming Tuesday, May 26th. The link is in the comments. And this is something family, our husbands and wives, that you're going to do at home. And then for Mark and Jill's No More Perfect Marriage resources, at nomoreperfectmarriages.com. You can go there. Their No More Marriage book is there. They talk about the 7 fades. So if you're married, your marriage is going well, but you want to make sure that you keep doing the maintenance check. You want to get the book and look at those 7 fades. So Mark, thank you. You have been such a life-giving presence today. Would you pray for our audience as we wrap up today's show?
Absolutely. Father, thank you for every woman here today. And Father, may you pour out the courage and the confidence for them to love their man well, to take these secrets and make that investment. And Father, that you would continue to transform marriages. And Father, for those marriages that are hearing this, that are hurting, I pray for your hope and your spirit-filled courage that would pour out upon them, that they would begin to have that marriage that they desire and that you desire. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Well, Mark Savage, thank you so much for being on today's Better Together podcast. Nancy, I agree with you. This has been great. And so, friends, go ahead and you can watch this podcast again right here on my author page, or you can go to barbruce.com and the replay will be there on the blog page as well. So, friends, join me on Tuesdays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard and Fridays at 1 p.m. for new episodes of the Better Together podcast. Have a great week, friends.